10 moments in sports history.
Bobby Orr scored the game-winning goal in 1970s Stanley Cup playoffs against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he did it again in 1972. He was considered one of the greatest hockey players of all time. He inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1979. He won 3 consecutive Hart trophies as the league's most valuable player, and he won 8 consecutive Norris trophies, which is a record. He was one of the greatest NHL players of all times. Richie Jackson in the 1977 World Series hit 3 homers off 3 pitches at consecutive at-bats. With that, Richie Jackson cemented his reputation as Mr. October and clinched Game 6 of the World Series for the New York Yankees. Richie's 3-homer game put an end to a season of turmoil that began when he left Baltimore for New York via free agency following the 1976 campaign. The tumultuous clubhouse throughout the 1977 season, the Yankees thrived and Jackson hit 32 home runs, drove in 110 runs as New York won 100 games, the American League East title. In the World Series, Jackson hit 5 home runs in the final 3 games, driving in 8 runs and finishing with a record 25 total bases. He was named World Series MVP for the 2nd time of his career, matching his performance in 1973 for the Oakland Athletics. Jackson became the first player to hit 5 home runs in a single World Series. Jackson and the Yankees went on to win the World Series again in 1978, giving Jackson 5 World Series championships during his time in Oakland and New York. He retired following the 1987 season with 563 home runs, 1,702 RBIs, and was elected to the Hall of Fame. Track and field athlete won gold medals in the 400-meter hurdles at the 1976 and 1984 Olympics. Between 1977 and 1987, Moses won 104 consecutive finals, 122 consecutive races, set the world record in the event 4 times. After breaking his own world record the following year at the Drake Stadium with a time of 47.45 seconds, Moses lost to West Germany's Harold Schmidt on August 26, 1977 in Berlin. This was the 4th defeat in the 100-meter hurdles. Beginning the next week, Moses beat Schmidt by 15 meters in Dusseldorf. He did not lose another race for 9 years, 9 months, and 9 days. He received one of the Congressional Gold Medals created for the athletes at the 1984 Olympics held in Los Angeles. Kirk Gibson 1988 World Series home run was a baseball play that occurred in Game 1 of the 1988 World Series, October 15, 1988, at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Gibson was initially held out of the Los Angeles Dodgers lineup with injuries to both legs, but after being called upon to pinch hit in the bottom of the 9th inning with 2 outs, he hit a 2-run home run walk-off homer against the Oakland Athletics' Dennis Eckersley. The home run won the game for the Dodgers by a score of 5-4. Gibson, who was not expected to play due to injuries in both legs sustained during the NLCS, was surprisingly inserted as a pinch hitter with the Dodgers trailing 4-3 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning, and the tying run at first base. Gibson's home run plate appearance helped the Dodgers defeat the Athletics 4-1, securing their 6th world title. Dennis Conner won the America's Cup 3 times, successfully defending the Cup in 1989 and 1988, and winning as a challenger in 1987. His 4-3 loss in 1983 to Australian Alan Bond's Ween-Keel challenger Australia 2 was the first Cup defender to be defeated in 132 years of the history of the race, ending a run by the New York Yacht Club that began with the first contest. Following the loss, Conner formed his own syndicate, the Sail America Foundation, through which he raised funds to mount a challenge on behalf of the San Diego Yacht Club, culminating with winning the cup back from Australia in 1987. Conner's 1983 loss and subsequent 87 victory are the basis of the 1992 America Zoetrope film win. Their reception is one of the most famous plays in the history of the American gridiron football. It occurred in the AFC Divisional Playoff game of the National Football League between the Steelers and the Oakland Raiders, Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh on December 23, 1972. With his team dealing 7-6 4th down and 22 seconds after the game, Steelers quarterback Terry Bradshaw threw a pass, targeting Steelers running back John Farquhar. Bob bounced off the helmet of Raiders safety Jack Tatum. Steelers fullback Franklin Harris caught it just before it hit the ground and ran for a game-winning touchdown. And he has been a source of controversy and speculation ever since, with some saying that the ball touched only Farquhar and did not in any way touch Tatum, and that it hit the ground before Harris caught it, either of which would have resulted in an incomplete pass. In the Jungle was a heavyweight championship boxing match October 30th, 1974 at the 20th of May Stadium in Africa. George Foreman was the undisputed heavyweight champion and Ali was the challenger. The event had an attendance of 60,000 people and was one of the most watched televised events of all time. Ali won by a knockout in the 8th round. It was called arguably the greatest sporting event in the 20th century. It was a major upset as Ali was a 4-1 underdog against the unbeaten heavy-hitting Foreman. The fight is famous for Ali's introduction of the rope-a-dope tactic. It is estimated that over 1 billion people watched the fight from all over the world, one of the most watched events of all time. Was a hockey game during the 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid, New York. It was played between the host, the United States, and the Soviet Union, February 22, 1980, during the medal round of the men's hockey tournament. Though the Soviet Union was a 4-time defending gold medalist and heavy favored, the United States upset them and won 4-3. The Soviet Union had won gold medals in 5 of the 6 previous Winter Olympic Games, and they were favorites to win once more in Lake Placid. The Soviet Union was considered primarily the full-time players, professional, all with significant experience in international play. By contrast, the United States team led by head coach Herb Brooks was composed mostly of amateur players, with only 4 players with minimum minor league experience. The United States had their youngest team in the tournament in national team history.
Be careful not to block with his
Here and in the 2000 Summer Olympics, Carolyn had been undefeated for 13 years and had not given up a point for 6 years prior to his loss in the gold medal match to Gardner. In 2001, Gardner added a world championship to his accomplishments with a victory in the finals over Mihaly Bardos of Hungary. His win made him the only American to ever win both a world and Olympic title in Greco-Roman wrestling. After the 2000 Olympics, he suffered a series of injuries from both a snowmobiling and motorcycle accident. These injuries included an amputated toe and dislocated wrist, but he still qualified for the 2004 Summer Olympic Games, but he was unable to repeat his performance in 2000, but he came away with a bronze medal. After his match, he left his shoes in the middle of the ring, symbolizing his retirement from competitive wrestling. This was considered one of the greatest upsets in sports history.
Minor leaguer to the big leagues for the first time with Philadelphia. Now with Cleveland.
Series, Major League Baseball, 112th edition. It was the best of 7 playoffs between the Chicago Cubs and the Cleveland Indians. First meeting of those franchises in postseason history. The game was played between October 25th, November 2nd, and the Indians had home advantage. It was the final World Series to have home field advantage determined by an All-Star game 2017. Home field advantage had been awarded to the team with a better record. Many consider the 2016 World Series to be one of the greatest World Series of all time due to the underdog story behind both teams. The game was tightly contested, the series going the full distance, and Game 7 going the extra innings. The Cubs defeated the Indians 4-3 to capture their first World Series in over 100 years.